We all know universally, everybody anointing Joe Douglas and the Jets monster winners at the draft. And we're joined by the GM right now on Tiki and Tierney on WFAN. Joe, welcome back. How you doing today, buddy? What's happening?
Good. Brandon, Tiki, how you guys doing today?
Awesome,
we
dude, man. Trying to get you back on the show for a minute. Wait, don't get too big for your britches here, Joe.
No, he's been busy. What are you talking about? He had a draft. Hey, afterwards, did you just say to yourself, after this draft, we just crushed this thing, man? Because that first thing I tweeted or texted BT after it was over, I was like, the Giants did well, but the Jets just crushed this thing. Did you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, we were excited about how things unfolded. We made our last pick in the fourth round, and then it was like, okay, let's get to work on undrafted free agency. Try to get some diamonds in for rookie minicamp next week, and so we kind of went from one project to the next, and so, but everyone was excited the way that things played out over the weekend.
And you should be, and yeah, even rounds 2 and beyond that, you guys made some really shrewd moves. We've got a ton of things we want to hit, and by the way, we'll be out of camp this year. Can't wait to see you guys and hang out in person, watch the team. So here's my first question, Joe. I'm watching the draft unfold here, and I said for roughly a week or so before the draft, I want Gardner on the Jets. You obviously did that. Now you need things to favorably go your way. My question is this. If the Texans, who went corner, would have taken Gardner, would that have meant that you guys were definitely taking Stingley?
You know, I think we had our lists, right? We had our top 10 going into that first round. Mm-hmm. And really we had our top 150. But we went over every possible scenario that we could leading up to this thing. And so ultimately, we knew going in, like, okay, we've got to have our top 4 guys locked down. And so ultimately it felt perfect, and we were able to get the guy that we wanted, not just at 4, but at 10. But look, both those corners, ultra talented, gifted. But we were fortunate to get the guy that we got in Sauce.
Was Stingley graded in a very similar neighborhood? Was it very close with Gardner for you guys?
No doubt. Like I said, both guys very gifted, very talented. You talk about the traits you're looking for at the position: length, top end speed, feet, hips, ability to mirror guys off the line of scrimmage. Felt it was a really good group of 2 when it comes to that at that position.
Okay.
No, Joe, we know how the narrative works with young quarterbacks in this league. You got to get talent around them, and you guys have spent a lot of effort trying to do that. Obviously, with the first-round pick, your second first-round pick, that is, and Garrett Wilson, then Breece Hall, very good running back to pair with Michael Carter in the second round. But also this offseason, you guys went heavy trying to go after Tyreek Hill. Not really heavy because you didn't offer a first-round pick, but you know what I mean. You were in that conversation to get Tyreek Hill, who ultimately goes to the Dolphins. There was word that maybe you were in on A.J. Brown. You know, the importance of getting talent around Zach Wilson was where on the priority list as you went into this offseason?
Yeah, as far as the offseason, it was priority number 1. Doing whatever we had to do to help the progression, help the development of our second-year quarterback. And so the way he finished the year last year, I feel like every coach, every person was excited about how he finished the year strong in adverse conditions. You know, obviously having a lot of guys injured on the offense. So it was a priority for us to help him. And, it felt like when things started getting crazy in that wide receiver market, which you saw early in free agency, we kind of zigged while other people zagged and got those 2 tight ends who we felt like it could be a really nice security blanket for a young quarterback. And then now with taking Garrett here at 10, we have high investments at young wide receivers in terms of 2 second-round picks and a first-round pick, and excited to have those 3 young guys in the building that can grow together with our young quarterback.
So, I know that the reports, and there was certainly substance behind them, you guys were obviously in play for Debo. It did not work out. Were you guys in play for A.J. Brown? Because there was the perception that, and we was, if the Jets could get Metcalf, if the Jets could get Debo, from us, I'm talking about Joe. If the Jets could get A.J. Brown and, lure one of these receivers for Zach, were you guys actually in contact with Tennessee? Did you have a chance to get him on draft night?
Yeah, we explored a lot of different avenues throughout the offseason, and some were more documented than others. But look, I mean, we tried to. We had a lot of different conversations over the last month and a half as it pertains to that position. Ultimately, we didn't get a deal done with one of those veteran receivers, but we felt good about adding a guy like Garrett Wilson, a young, explosive wide receiver that can, again, stay on the same trajectory as our young quarterback.
Yep. No, I got you, Joe. All right, so we're talking to Joe Douglas of the Jets, their GM. Joe, listen, I mean, you're not going to add to this, and you don't have to, obviously. I'll say it for you. When you took this job, I mean, wow. You want to talk about being bereft of talent. I mean, the cupboards were empty, dude. I mean, it was rough, and you know this, and you're starting to really fortify it. The depth chart looks very different, but the wins haven't come yet. And I'm curious, as much as I wanted Gardner at 4, I thought I love Jamison Williams, and I know he's not healthy. And I wonder how much needing wins early-ish for you maybe guided the decision to go with somebody who's going to play day one versus somebody who could be better but is not ready. Was that a big factor for you guys?
I mean, I think ultimately you're trying to be a good steward for the team. You're trying to get the team from point A to point B, and not just this year, but long term. What's the long term vision? So those were discussions that we had at multiple positions, not just wide receivers. Like, okay, who's the guy that comes in day one as the best guy? Who's the guy that 3 years down the road could be the best guy? So, there were ultimately a lot of different conversations in our strategy meetings leading up to the draft, and so ultimately we felt like, hey, we've got an opportunity here with Garrett sitting at 10, who's healthy, who has great route skill, ball skill, run after catch, and can run by people. And that combination, we just thought it was a perfect fit for this scheme and this offense.
Let me flip over to the defensive side, Joe. You guys moved back into the first round to get Jermaine Johnson, who fell a little bit. And I think it's important you got him here. He's 23 years old, as we all know. That was one of the narratives around him. Transferred twice, one to a community college and then Florida State from Georgia. So we know he's got the pedigree, but it gives you a fifth-year option on him, which could make him 28 years old when he gets his deal. How much of that came into getting him, or was it, man, this is just an opportunity because he fell a lot farther than people thought that he was going to?
Yeah, this was a real opportunity to get a player that we felt had a chance to come in here and be a difference maker. And another guy, like you guys brought up, Jamison, a guy that bet on himself, left a comfortable situation to bet on himself, and he hit big. And so, look, we saw this as nothing more than a great opportunity to add a premium player at a premium position, that edge rush position. And so with Coach Sala's attack front, we always want guys that can get off the ball, make life a little bit harder for the quarterback. And so we saw him falling. We decided to be aggressive and try to get him.
Yeah, and when I think about this team last year, obviously it was about Zach and the offense and some of the mistakes and everything that was happening early, and then he stabled himself out at the end. But really, the issue was defense, right? The worst defense in the league, both points and yards. Hopefully, for Jets fans, Carl Lawson comes back to who he is. You pick up the fifth-year option on Quentin Williams, and you draft Jermaine Johnson. You get Sauce Gardner. Where is this defense expected to be in your mind? Because that's where a lot of the holes were last season.
Yeah, Tiki, we had so much youth on not just defense, but offense last year. And so obviously there were some growing pains attributed to that. And I can't say enough about Coach Sala, Coach Brick, all of our position coaches, Coach Whitecott and Coach Rutenberg, T.O., Marquand. They did such a good job just pushing through and keeping guys together. And these young guys went out and battled. But being so young and then losing Carl early in the year like we did, that was a tough blow, right? I mean, there's no sugarcoating that. So, but we feel like, okay, this experience that a lot of these young guys had. I mean, we played 8 different safeties throughout the course of the season.
Wow.
We were banged up, and so we had guys like Eccles and Bryce Hall just playing their hearts out and making plays for us. Michael Carter was a young rookie that balled out for us, and so we feel like these young guys, the experience that they were able to have, last year is really going to pay dividends for us now and moving into the future. And then just adding the pieces that we added through draft and free agency, it's only going to help the quality depth on this defense.
Yeah, the cornerback, the secondary room is suddenly very young. Reed is in that now. I mean, listen, I watched every snap. It was rough, but those guys were scrapping. But the talent, the insurgence of talent is certainly evident. And we're talking to Joe Douglas, who's responsible for bringing that talent in. You mentioned Carl Lawson, Joe. And I remember last summer, and I didn't know how to process this. I'm reading every day. Carl Lawson, he's abusing Becton every day. Carl Lawson, he looks like a superstar. He's having his way with Becton. Now, that's good for Carl Lawson. That's not necessarily good for the theoretical franchise left tackle. Here's my thing about Becton. I know you've been asked about this, but I don't think that you've been asked about this the right way, quite frankly. We know he's not there. Okay. God bless his soon-to-be-born child, his girlfriend. Get it. What we need to know, number one, do you know exactly what he weighs right now, Joe? And number two, if camp started tomorrow, is he in pads and is he playing or is he still rehabbing? Where is Becton at?
Like I said, we've had good conversations. We feel like we have a pretty good tabs on his weight. He's in a good place. I'll say that he's in a good place right now. He's still rehabbing. He's still getting healthy. The season doesn't start tomorrow, so I think when he comes up here after the baby's born, when he's here for mandatory minicamp throughout the period in between mandatory minicamp and training camp, I know how important it is for him to come back in the best shape, best possible health he can be. Because look, I think he has a lot of pride, and he's a competitive guy, and so I think he's at the point now he wants to prove some naysayers wrong, and I think he's going to do everything in his power to get to that point come start of training camp.
He's got to. I mean, Becton's film from year one is phenomenal, and what was so mystifying about last year is the timeline of his return. And Joe, you said something that worries me. That he's still rehabbing. He got hurt week 1, and we thought he was coming back, maybe week 6, week 8. He kept getting pushed back. So he's still rehabbing. Did he have a setback, Joe? I mean, I'm not trying to belabor this, but, why is he not ready?
Yeah, I think it was a situation where it really isn't anyone's fault, player, medical. This one just took longer than anybody predicted. And it wasn't for a lack of effort or trying, or it just ran a little long. And so look, I mean, the communication's been great between him, his doctors, our doctors, and he's on a good course right now to be ready for training camp.
Yeah, but Joe, that forces me to ask this question: did that, in your minds, make you guys think about taking one of the tackles with one of your top 10 picks?
Look, if the board would have fell a certain way, I mean, who knows what would have happened? But I could say, obviously, we didn't take the position high. We feel good about Mekhi, George, Chuma, Connor. Feel good about our tackle depth, our tackle room. We added Mitchell, Max Mitchell in the 4th round. So we feel good about that room.
Yeah.
So we're talking to Joe Douglas of the Jets, their GM, of course. Now, talking about weight with Becton, I wanted to ask you about Zach Wilson. I know or at least he looks like he put on a little more functional weight, and he's a young kid. He's going to learn to eat better, get in a weight room. I get that. It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. Organizationally, Joe, how many pounds do you think that he can pack on, say, over the next 4 or 5 years without it impacting his play? What do you think his frame will max out at optimally?
Yeah, I think when you stand next to Zach, you can see, if you've ever met his dad, his dad was a D lineman at Utah. His dad's is.
Well, I know we know his mom, Joe.
Yeah.
We saw her on social media.
How do we know?
Young guys fill out naturally, and so I think Zach's no different. And I think he's got a sturdy frame, and we all know how athletic he is. And so I think he's come back in great shape. He looks awesome.
Yeah, and not the challenge, I think it's a good thing, because I did y'all's first game against the Panthers. And one of the things that kept coming up was that, dude, he's just grinding. Like he never leaves the facility. Now there's good to that, but there's also like overload to that. Has he found his balance yet? And I think a lot of that was because there wasn't a veteran on the staff last year, in the quarterback room, I should say. Joe Flacco is there now, and
Mike White too.
Mike White is there as well. How is he balancing, this second year transition into the offseason?
Yeah, I think two good things that happened during the course of the year, when Coach Beck came over to help, and then Joe. I mean, Mike is such a good teammate, and
yeah.
we were blessed with the quarterback room that we had with Josh and Mike and Joe, and when we added Joe, and Joe's personality is so great for the room, and it was great with Zach, and so we wanted to keep that room together. And I feel like Zach's such a gym rat. He's so wired to compete and watch tape, and no one loves football more than Zach. Like he's awesome. But adding those guys, I felt like that added balance, and then keeping Joe and Mike in the room. It's a great thing.
Joe, it almost seems like it's your personal mission, and I certainly get this, because you said this to Darnold. Hell, you told Darnold's parents what you were going to do for Sam, and it didn't work out the way we all wanted it to. It seems like you were on this, you're almost obsessed with making sure there's not a repeat of that with your quarterback now. Yeah,
no doubt. I think it started up front for us, with addressing that. And look, I think Coach Sal and I have always said, where our football philosophy is that everything starts up front, the line of scrimmage, D-line, O-line, and like the one thing we wanted to do out the gate was address this offensive line. Are we perfect? No. Can we get better? Of course, we can get better everywhere. So we wanted to make sure we solidify the front, and then start adding pieces around and try to make life a little bit easier for our quarterback.
Yeah, no, and that starts with bringing in Laken Tomlinson, who was fantastic. Obviously, he's going to go left, and you're moving Elijah Vera-Tucker over to the right. Not going to really be any issue, I don't think. But that shakeup for a kid who had a really great rookie season in Vera-Tucker, that's going to work itself out. We hope, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And I think Vera-Tucker and I think AVT and Laken could be a pretty strong duo, guard duo. And Laken has played left guard for a long time. I think one of the things we loved about AVT was his ability to play just about anywhere. He played left tackle, he played left guard. So he's a dynamic young athlete, and man, another guy that just loves football and loves to compete.
Yeah, you guys got fast. You went from being slow relatively, relative to the rest of the NFL, to fast here. Joe, if you could only find the guy who's 6'3", 220, nice catch radius, runs about a 4.38 40. Oh, you got that guy. His name's Denzel Mims. Is there any conviction in the building that Mims can still deliver for you guys?
Absolutely. He's come back really on fire. He's in great shape. He's moving around. Look, it's so cliche, but if Denzel and really all of our young guys, they keep stacking the days, keep putting the work in, good things are going to happen. And the last 2+ weeks, there's been a lot of positive days stacked together. Yeah,
I got to tell you, man, as Joe Douglas of the Jets there, Jim, as much as it was mystifying, and I'm not going to lie to you, I was part of the, free Mims hashtag on social media. I'm like, this guy's got to play. But, in hindsight, Joe, and I don't know exactly what went awry, whether it was the playbook or effort or injuries or a little bit of everything. That's for you guys to know and whatever. That's how you change culture. When you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you don't run out there. Yeah. And, you lose playing time. You got to earn it. So while it bothered us in real time, I think big picture, it accelerates the plan. But listen, we're going to let you bounce. Very, very generous with your time. You and me and Sasso have to get together. Our boy Sass.
Coach Sasso, he's the best.
He is the man. I heard your boy's a pretty good baseball player, by the way. I heard that a couple times, Joe.
Yeah, because of Coach, Coach has helped him a lot.
I heard he's a beast. We'll get together, have a little dinner before camp, and Tiki and I will be out there at camp. And thank you very much, Joe. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Joe.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
There you go. Man. There he is, Joe Douglas of the Jets.